being fully transparent with you guys, as I get older, it's harder and harder and harder for me to stay motivated, right? Like it's hard. And there's a lot of pressures in life, whether it be, my professional career, whether it's trying to stay, physically fit, whether it's trying to be a good husband, a good father. It's just a lot of stuff going on. So I find myself listening to motivational speeches, motivational music. I try to keep the positivity rolling in so that I can continue to remind myself of my why and keep moving forward as I build discipline to go along with that motivation, right? Well, today we're talking to Mr. Motivation. His name's Shaun Murphy, motivational speaker. He's an educator. He's an author. He's a musician. The guy has been through some very difficult times in his life. He's built a lot of resilience, and he's here to teach us about that. So I want the athletes and even the parents, if you're a parent of an athlete, but you're just interested in this, and maybe you in your own personal life, you're looking for some motivation and some applicable, steps here to keep yourself going. I'd encourage you guys to tap into this one, listen to this one. It's a really good interview. He has a lot of great insight to share with the rest of us. It's incredible. I'm so stoked to bring this to you guys. I really want you guys to listen, take notes. It's one of those you might actually have to listen to a couple of times because he's got so much insight. But I want you guys to check this interview out. Make sure to go to the description of this podcast, find the links to his book, to his music, to his website, and check out his profile and see what he's all about, because he doesn't just talk the talk, he actually walks the walk. Hope you guys enjoy this one. This is the Gametime Guru. So,
what time is it? Game time!
This is the Gametime Guru podcast, where I interview sports figures from all over the world to help deliver a panoramic view on sports. So whether you're a former athlete, one of the crazies, or simply a casual sports fan, this is the perfect show for you as we peel back the curtains and learn from our guests every single week. I'm your host, Shane Larson, and I'm helping you see sports through a different lens. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Gametime Guru podcast. Shane Larson here. The Gametime Guru myself. I'm excited to be here with you guys today for another interview. We got a guest on the show that's going to be really, really inspiring. I hope you guys go and follow him, read his book. We're going to talk about everything. You heard it in the introduction. You heard everything that he's doing, what he's about, and we're going to get to know him a little bit more as we discuss. We're going to have a focal point here on resilience, because I know a lot of the people listen to my show, obviously athletes and parents of athletes, aspiring athletes. We want to talk about resilience, and the guy himself knows it. He is Mr. Motivation. His name's Shaun Murphy. Shaun, thanks for joining the show, man.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Shouts out to everybody.
Heck yeah, man. Excited to have you. When I was doing a deep dive into kind of reading your bio, checking out the website, seeing your story, I was like, oh, this is fantastic. This is going to be awesome. So, Shaun, give us a little bit of your background, kind of going back. I know you spent some time in the Army. That's a big, it shaped you being in the military. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, backstory, Brooklyn dude, by way of the Caribbean, Barbados. Let me see. I left the hood, went to college. I started at Binghamton, SUNY Binghamton, upstate New York. I was more, so my mom's from Barbados, so I came from that Caribbean background, strict. I couldn't do nothing really. So I get to college and I'm like outside, good and bad, right? So fast forward 2 years, I ended up dropping out. I had like a 1.7 GPA, and I knew I couldn't go back to the hood. Like that wasn't an option. So I just enlisted to the military, did 8 years in the Army. And it was there that I found myself, learned how to be a man, learn how to lead, learn how to be in charge of others. Definitely grew that empathy. It's like a melting pot. I'm like, I once I got my act together, I kind of fast tracked with rank. So I was in charge of people older than me, and I was different. But I think the military, my Army values to date is that thing that I'm grounded on. It's my foundation that I've been building on. One of the things we talk about resilience, I've been failing all my life, right? And somewhere along the journey, I realized that failure is a good thing. Like, how do I capitalize on this thing to be better? And then I started to wanting to fail. I gave myself the willingness to fail, and I wanted to fail. I wanted to fail faster, and I wanted to fail bigger. And I know I've, now college dropout. I'm now a college professor. I teach a course on how to be successful in college. Someone that never liked to read and write. Now I'm a published author. My journal was a bestseller. Now I got my book out, Unbreakable Valor. someone who know nothing about music other than, Jay and Big. Now people listen to me all over the world. So I've definitely, walked the walk, lived that life. The stuff that I talk about, it's nothing I just read. It's my life story. So we'll love to, dive in any aspect of that we want to tap into, Shane.
Absolutely, man. So there's a couple things here to unpack. I love that you just said that you've walked the walk. Shaun, having graduated college myself and just being in the corporate world, just working the big jobs, running my own businesses as well.
Mm-hmm.
There's some things that I have conversations with a lot of fellow coworkers of mine about like college professors in general of like, do they really know what they're talking about? Like if they knew how to start a business, why would they be teaching it instead of actually doing it, that kind of thing. And
Right.
the fact that you just said that, I would actually, I just think that if we had professors, and all respect to the professors that I've had, I love a lot of them that I had, right? But so I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but there was a lot of influential ones, but there were some that I'm like, man, like I wish I had somebody who had actually walked it, walked the walk and understands the system. And you have been there, and you understand how to get things done. There's a couple things here. First off, talking about failure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you mentioned, you often, turning failure into fuel. That's a big
Mm-hmm.
thing. I want to know, because in athletics specifically, it's easier said than done. I think I hear a lot of athletes that'll be like, yeah, it's okay to fail. Like we know it's okay to fail, but when the time comes when the failure actually happens, I think emotionally they're not ready for it, even though they say they are. So I would love to pick your brain on that. Like you've said, you failed a lot. Talk to us about a specific failure and how you were able to overcome it. Like what's the mindset you need to have to be able to utilize it as fuel instead of letting it eat you alive?
Yeah. So a few things. I immediately think about long story. I'm gonna try to shorten it. So I went to Iraq as a contractor. I lived there for a year, and I wanted to, kind of just build and grow and build out a dream. And I got inspired by someone to go in education. So I left Iraq, big paying job, to go become a teacher through Teach for America. Now I get there, you have this, it's like teacher boot camp, and you going through all the things. They pushing you up midnight. You had to do all these things before the day, then go teach. And, some people's mindset was like, if this doesn't work out, I'll go work for my dad. And I'm like, this got to work out for me. There's no other option. You know what I'm saying? So already my mind is just different. And I fast forward, you got to take a praxis exam to become an educator. And I struggle with that, man. Listen, they be like, what friends, Roman countrymen, lend me your ear. What is this an excerpt from? You got like, seconds to kind of figure this out to be an algorithm of the test time. And I struggle. I failed probably 4 times. So like the first time in my life, I really studied. My wife now, but she taught me how to study. And I didn't even know like there's a strategy for studying, So end up not passing the thing. And I needed this to stay in education. But thankfully, I was good at teaching, just being a dope educator. And I just was like, damn, I was deflated because I couldn't get my master's degree because I hadn't checked this box. So fast forward, I'm now, I said, you know what, I don't need a master's. I convinced myself I didn't need it. And but like my mom's always instilled in me, education is something no one can take from you. You know what I mean? You got to get your education. Now, yeah, I had my bachelor's and that was cool, but I really wanted a master's. So like deep down, I had like a burning desire. And sometimes you need help, right? So I meet a guy, Dr. Ski. He was just moving to Pennsylvania to become the president of Harrisburg Area Community College. And he was just like, we got to talk. And he's like, Shaun, listen, we need you in the classroom. Like your story, your energy. And I'm like, what I need to do? He's like, you need your master's. I'm like, oh. So now I needed probably about 4 classes or credits, or I think classes to get this. So he inspired me. So I'm driving an hour and a half down one way, hour and a half back to take this course to be able to get certified to be able to teach in the college level. And I tell you what, long story short, it was the burning desire, the desire to like take that failure. Because remember, I failed. I could have stopped. I didn't really need to teach, but I saw an opportunity because it's like, what's your why? My purpose here is expansion, to help people go next level, to help people unearth their gifts. What better platform than the collegiate space to teach a course on how to be successful in college from a college dropout who's failed at other areas in life. So it was just more to it than just the driving and the taking the test and the passing the class. It was like, this is part of my journey to live out my purpose, if that makes sense, right? So I welcomed it. I did it. I remember my final exam. I hope my teacher don't see this. I was supposed to teach a class, but I didn't have no class. I was in student teaching. Bro, I set up a tripod, had the pan view, and I taught the lesson. You'd have thought 30 kids was in there because I was going crazy. Oh, I love that. Oh, dope. Great response. And I submitted that, long story short. So now I teach. I'm on year like 7 now at the college level. So really embrace the failure part of that.
Man, that's actually really, really cool to hear that. And one thing that I wanted to take note of there and make sure that the listeners remember is like you had a why. There's always a why. And if you remember that why, especially when times, it's easy to remember when it's easy, but when the times get tough and the failures happen and you don't succeed the way that you were expecting it to be, if you remember the why deep down, that's awesome. And then another thing that you shared was like, you didn't really have a plan B. Like some of those guys, like they had a plan B in certain scenarios. Like, oh, if this doesn't work out, then I can go do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
I think I've noticed that in a lot of successful entrepreneurs, a lot of successful people, whether it be athletes, whomever, they typically don't have a contingency plan. They have one plan and that's what they do. And that's how they're driven. And I think there's something to be said about that.
Check.
Now, I also want to pick your brain a little bit on just, I guess the topic in my head would be like resilience in the arena, right? So a lot of athletes, Shaun, and just people in general, they're tied to their performance, right? Like their identity is tied to their performance. So like, what advice, I guess, would you give to someone having been through the military, now you've turned these failures into fuel, when somebody is struggling because either they lost their spot or their playing time's getting diminished or whatever, their identity's tied to their performance. Do you have any advice for people like that who like are so strapped into that if they fail and their performance is failing, then their whole identity is shook? How do you get through that?
Yeah. And I mean, I think it's more about not how you perform. Like, who are you when the crowd's not there, right? I perform at a high level at anything I'm doing. So if I get in the game and I'm in for 3 minutes, I'm going full throttle for them 3 minutes because that's what I got. Because they say, if I don't maximize these 3 minutes, what am I going to do with 30? You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to show that you're going to perform at a high level. And it speaks to, it's fun. I just had a trials the other day for a team. And I was just watching attitude and character. I think that trumps talent all day. It's like, what are you going to do? Just like military, the game, we down. How do we respond? How's our attitude when we down 20, when we down 30, when you're not getting played? Are you throwing up your hands? Are you still supporting the team? All of that matters because all that's that energy that's on the bench, that energy that you pushing onto the floor. Like your team, like I'm so grounded in team. It's crazy. Any scenario I'm in, whether I'm mentoring, coaching, teaching, I call everybody a teammate. Because whatever we're doing, we came here together to accomplish whatever the mission is or the objective, and we got to work together. We're only as strong as our weakest link. One of my favorite lines, I think, Ubuntu, I am because we are. It speaks to that interconnectedness. Like, we have to work together. So I would encourage you, if you're going through anything, you just make sure you show up. What they said, I always tell my wife this, when it's my time to everybody want to be out front. But when it's your time to play the fiddle, just play the hell out the fiddle. That's the task you got in that moment. And it translates to sports. Because as we see, man, how many, whether it's I love Rodman, he's but the guys that don't drop 40 and 50, they do the little things, and those things matter sometimes more than you putting up big buckets. But you got to really take pride in your role that you have on that team and in that moment. So that'd be my thinking around that statement.
Heck yeah, man. Yeah, Ubuntu. Like I had a friend at my old job named Lee Karaoke, and
Mm,
he taught me that whole phrase. I
yep.
am because we are. I love that phrase. It's a good one to remember as a team.
Check.
Um, so being in the military, talk to me about that. Like being in the military and being part of a team like that. I mean, I come from a military family, and there's a
Mm,
lot of things. My uncle served in Iraq, 2 tours. You get to hear a lot of things. You're in there as a team, and if one person fails, they all fail. If one person triumphs, they all
yeah.
triumph. It's the whole concept there. Talk to me about how the military and that team atmosphere, and then just all the pressures that come with it. It's not easy being in the military, but talk to me about how that shaped you in regards to, I guess, taking ownership, right, and learning
Mm.
ownership and leadership all around.
Yeah, two things coming to mind. I'm in basic training. I'm young. I'm probably like 17, 18, maybe, right? 18. And I had my battle buddy. We all get a battle buddy. My battle buddy, Eric Kelly. He was about 35. He was at the end of the spectrum. And he was slower. But I tell you what, that was my battle buddy. And I don't care what nobody said. Like, me and him, we together. And I was like, I may have to slow down to get him, but I wasn't going to cross any line without him. You know what I'm saying? And it goes again to that pride that you have in whatever you're doing. You know what I'm saying? But it ties into leadership. I remember, and everybody doesn't want that. I had a girl, well, I was stationed in Korea. And this girl, I was E5, so I'm the sergeant on duty. And she was E4, but she was promotable. So she could have gone to E5. And I'm like, yo, hey, teammate, like, why you don't go to the board and get promoted? She ain't skip a beat. She said, hey, Sergeant, listen, tonight we on duty. If I mess up or do anything wrong, you're responsible. I don't want that type of responsibility on me. And I was just like I didn't know that was a thing. You know what I'm saying? Because I just think, extreme ownership. Like, yo, hey, it's on me. No, people don't want that. Some people just want to float by. But I think there's the leader in everybody, depending on the scenario. But there's some people that like that's their thing. They want no parts of the smoke. They want to be able to assign blame, and I've grown into just an extreme leader. Like for me, everything's about the team. I've adopted selfless service, one of my Army values, as like a core belief. And my kids will tell you, wife will tell, I'm always like, leaders eat last. I'll make sure everybody's good. And you just really need somebody that's always thinking of the team. And that's a role I've just adopted and just ran with. You feel me?
Yeah, dude, I love that. Selfless service, leaders eat
Mm-hmm.
last. I love that. I want to encourage those who are listening. Make sure to take notes of this. I want to remind you, if this is your first time listening to the show, welcome aboard. We appreciate all of you guys. But if you have your iPhone or your Android, whatever you listen to it on, make sure to take out the notepad, take notes. That's one that I'm going to be noting down here. So one thing, Shaun, that I always enjoy doing when I'm training, right? I'm 36, but I enjoy training like an athlete because I coach athletes. So I try to be around them and still try to help them out and try to, get in the game sometimes and show them that the old man can still work. But
Yeah.
when I'm training, I do like to listen to motivational music, motivational speeches, and so forth.
Mm,
And so I would like to ask you about that because when I read your bio and then you were just talking about it earlier, music. Like there's a
mm.
musical piece to you, you know what I mean? So I want to talk to you about that because that's a big thing for me, which is
Yeah.
weird. That's why I was like, oh, we've got to touch base on this because that's something that I like to have in my headphones, like to keep
Yep.
myself going, especially as I get older. But talk to us about the motivation music.
Yeah. So when I got into like deciding I want to create a platform to speak to reach people, I said to myself, how do I reach somebody that's in Africa, Japan, Europe that needs this, that's lacking clarity, that's lacking direction? And I wanted to switch up from like the speaker. Speaker come in, they talk, they may move me. But I was like, yo, music's gonna live forever. I used to listen to this dude, Adam Won't Lose. He would talk, I hope I meet him one day. He would be like, dear hard work, I used to hate you, but you made me better. And it's over a beat, right? I'm like, yo, I just used to listen to it, but it never registered like, yo, this could be a thing. And then one day I had my Les Brown moment, like, I could do this. So call my producer dude, and told him he thought I was crazy at first, and I sent it to him. So he's, oh, I got the beat. So boom, now that's my thing, right? So I'm in the studio, and I'm from Brooklyn, so I'm a heavy J dude, big, and I think inside of me I've always wanted to do it, but I just didn't see that what that path looked like. And now I saw it. I'm doing studio stuff. So I did one rhyme. I did a rap, Murph flow, super low BPMs, but it was hard, buddy. I was like, yo, these rappers, how they do this? And I'm struggling. And my man Pig's like, Murph, you're not a rapper, but keep working on it. So I decided, I dropped the album, had the one song on there, but I told my daughter and my son, I said, listen, in life, you don't got to be smart or talented to be successful. Focus and effort, anything you want to do. Now, Shane, for the listeners and the viewers, listen, if I would have hit up any of my friends and be like, yo, I'm thinking about going into music, heavy no. Kick rocks. What are you talking about? I already know. Because remember, your friends, they only remember you for the chapter they know you as. So people know me as the dropout. They know me as, army guy. Musician, out of here, right? But guess what? They don't matter. I wanted to do it. I knew it was going to be hard. I knew it was going to take time. But guess what? I'm willing to put in the 10,000 hours. I'm willing to practice over and over. I'm studying Jay. I'm studying Will Smith. I'm studying Common because, I feel like I align with them. I'm studying Beyonce's big shows and watching how she performs. Got a vocal coach. I went all in because I'm a bet on me all day, right? Because my work ethic, I'm not going to lose. So fast forward, now when I present, my guy, I do speaking, spoken word, and music in my presentation. And it's a lane I didn't see, but I had my own vision. So now I just did a tour. I was in Delaware, and my videographer, he created the reel, and I'm watching the reel. I'm like, yo, like how I used to look at E.T., Jeremy Anderson. I'm like, yo, that's the, yo, we did it. But it took time. We talking about 3-4 years. This warmed my heart. I'm at Pennsylvania, Launch Music Fest. I just did 20-minute set, all music. My daughter comes backstage. She runs up. She said, Daddy, yo, you did it. 3 years ago, you said you was going to do this. And you did it. This is amazing. And, bro, I don't got to make no kind of money off of this. To have my kids see me as an example, I said I want to do this thing. I formulated the vision. I decided I need my producer. I need a vocal coach, who I needed on the team to help me bring this vision to life. And then I put in the work. And that's the source for whoever's listening and watching. Anything you want to do, every day is a blank canvas. Paint the picture you want to see with your life and then get to work. It's going to take time, but you got to believe in you. One of my superpowers, I got delusional self-confidence. I can do anything. And I show my kids, I'm on Spotify. I think I got 5,000 listeners this month. Crazy. From a dude that only used to push the button to play. But I believed in me. You get me? So you are able to architect. You the architect. You design your life. Okay? So that's how I got into music. And now, bro, I'm so free with it. I just, I get inspired. I just did a grad capping song. I said, dang, at graduation, what would I have wanted to hear? I did a grad capping song. And I'll tell you what else music did for me. It became like a therapy because I've talked about stuff I've never talked about, like mental health, being hurt, till I need help. My dad got murdered when I was 6. I never talked about that. 20 plus years, 30 years. But now I got a song out, Letter to Dad. So I was able to now channel what's inside and I share with the world. And I credit a lot. I got a lot of virtual mentors. Brene Brown, she says vulnerability is a superpower. You know what I'm saying? She said, if they're not in the ring fighting with you, face scarred, they can't judge you. And I started to adopt this stuff, and now it comes out in my music and when I present.
Man, all of that is incredible, man. I actually just love it. One thing you said, delusional self-confidence, that's perfect. And another thing, and I'll relate this to those who are listening. One thing that you said there, I have a ton of respect for, and it was like, hey, if I would ask my friends, they would have said a heavy no. You're like, no.
Oh, yeah.
But what you said was, they don't matter, right? Like, with all due respect, but right?
Right.
Like, you have a mission, what you want to do. It's a blank canvas. You're going to go do it. So I'd encourage those who are listening, relate it to yourself in a sense. What if you're an athlete and you've got people who see you and they're like, dude, you didn't even start on the team. You're not playing college basketball. You're not playing college football. You're not doing that. Well, if you can flip that script and just be like, no, dude, you don't matter. With all due respect, y'all don't matter. I know what I'm going to do, and I know the work that I'm about to put in and what I've been putting in. So I love that piece of all of that. That's so cool that you were able to do that. So I'm going to encourage everybody to take a listen to Shaun's music. Go check it out, because that's what we're here for. We're promoting that. You know what I mean? And one thing before I want to get into your book, but I want to wait for just a second. I have a question that I've been waiting to ask. So one of the things I struggle with myself, Shaun, along with a lot of other people that are following this, it's self-doubt in the sense of, because you just mentioned delusional self-confidence, but like sometimes you just don't feel quite good enough, right? Like it's something that I struggle with in my own life. Like you're good, but not quite good enough, right? We almost feel like we're doubting. We have that inner critic. We're trying to silence the inner critic. I guess, where does your delirious self-confidence come from, and how do we silence that inner critic that says you're not quite good enough? You're good, but not quite good enough. How do we silence that?
Yeah, no, a couple things came to mind. So with that self-doubt piece, right? You gotta think, let's talk about this. Some people say, hey, I'm gonna stop vaping, I'm gonna start working out, I'm gonna quit this, but they never stop, they never start, they never quit. So now fast forward, you keep telling yourself these things and you keep lying. When now you gotta, I want to go for this team. Now you got this doubt built up because you don't believe you. You've been lying for years, right? So let's think about that. So we got to start changing the words that we're using on ourselves. And that goes into, as well as the affirmations. Affirmations. I mean, I got a song called Words. Words are so powerful, good people. Let me tell you, my guy, he was just talking to me. He just texted me. He's going for some competition. He said, I hope I get it. And I said, my friend, I want you to omit that word hope and let's speak it to existence. So I'm going to congratulate you in advance. See what I did there? It's words. It's powerful. And the universe works. It's that energy. You know that language? It means something. So like I never tell me no. Whoever's in charge at the top of the person, they got to tell me it's not going to work. And then I'm going to answer their inception of policy, right? You see what I'm saying? So you got to use positive words. Whatever you're reading, you got to just consume your life with positivity. Like I'm an optimist, realistic, but I'm an optimist, right? Like there's always a way. I always say there's two things, right? In life, we got choices to make. We look at our circumstance and we say, this is it. Life just dealt me a bad hand. Or there's more. See what I did there? Just like the person that says that I can and the person that says that I can't, they're both right. Which one are you? So that's how powerful words are. Because once you say I can't, your brain shuts down. Can't happen. But if you say I can, I got to figure this out. There's got to be a way. Now your brain is working. You start working, you start thinking, and you start attracting those answers and people and signs and what have you. You just got to be awake to see it. So that's how I would encourage you. Positive self-talk. What's your morning routine look like? Mine's is about a power hour, and it includes me writing things that I want to happen. Like, I'll give you an example, right? So I would say I just boarded my jet. We about to fly to the Bahamas real quick. Got a quick meeting. I love that I have this jet because it's not about, being flashy, just a symbol of the discipline and hard work I put in the years. And my daughter's here with me. I'm speaking this as it's happening. Like I'm journaling. Like this is present time, but it's not yet, right? So that's one of the things I do, as well as the visualization exercises. Like we stay on the jets. I'll do a virtual jet tour, and I'll like envision me being on it. I'll see wifey, my kids walking up, getting some tea, cooling out. Like these are the things that takes work, right? And you got to work on you because it took time with your self-doubt. So now we got to undo that, right? There's a book I like to share with y'all. Was it Secrets of the Millionaire Mind? T.F. Harvard, I think, and he talks about our mind files. So you may have mind files that speak to the self-doubt. You may have had some instances in life that you still holding on to subconsciously. So now you got to recognize it's there and decide you want to change it and then work on reversing that thing, okay? So I'll share that's a nugget for you. Hope you write that one down.
Heck yeah, dude. Secrets of a Millionaire Mind.
Yeah.
T. Harv Eker. How do you say that?
Ecker. Yeah.
Man.
Powerful.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Super impactful. Super good to hear. So thank you for that. Now, you talked about it earlier on, college dropout. Now you're teaching college. You're not teaching how to be successful in college. You have written a book. Okay. You are a musician. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
These are things I remember. It's interesting. I used to listen to ET quite a bit. I've listened to Les. I've listened to a lot of these. Like I told you, I've grown up listening to a lot of things. And there was one time that ET once said, as part of his speech, it was like, "Well, I'm not good at writing because you've never written before. Well, I'm not good at math because you ain't ever studied," is what he said. It's part of his whole thing. Like, you ain't ever done any of these things, so you don't actually know if you're not good at something until you actually put your efforts into it. You have been able to accomplish all these things. And I think for athletes and whomever else, it's the same concept. Oh, I'm not good at shooting the 3-ball, or I'm not good at playing defense. I'm not good at rebounding. I just can't jump. I can't dunk. So I'm just not a good jumper. I think it all applies because you are proof that with resilience and hard work, you can get there. So, but it doesn't just happen. You had you had to envision it. You had to do the whole thing. You had to work. But I want to talk about all of this. Like you talked about how you became an educator. Now, you're a musician. There's a lot of work. There's vocal coaches. There's things that you have to do to try to go through it. Writing. Talk to me about how you wrote your book and how you acquired these skill sets and how you developed them over time. It didn't just happen overnight. It probably happened over time. But how did you become a good writer if you were not necessarily a writer?
Yeah. No, great question. So, man, that's loaded. A few things. I was invited to do a talk in Allentown, PA, and I came in, gave a talk, high school, crazy. Went to lunch with the guy that brought me in after, Ron James. Shouts out to Ron James. And he said, "Murph, where's your book? Your book is your business card." So I scratched my melon because I have my drive with, right now, I got a drive with one book that's I Fail, I Grow, I Win. I probably got about 5-6 chapters. Then this book here, I just had, content. And then after that conversation, buddy, I was locked in, okay? And a few things from that. The people you surround yourself with. And I'm going to share this one with you and then finish with the rest. 6 people I think you need on your team, listeners and viewers. I call them my SEAL Team 6. Remember, you go to funerals, right? And you got the pallbearers holding you up. Well, I want to encourage you to identify people to hold you up while you're here, okay? While they can give you flowers, while you can smell them. You need the doubter. This is the devil's advocate. When we got bright ideas, it's the person that points out the blind spots. Well, this might happen here. If you do that, that's not going to work. Now you could adjust, okay? Instigator. They keep you fired up. You need the example. This is who you want to be like, who you want to emulate. Remember, success leaves clues. Who's doing what you want to do at a high level? Figure it out, study their story, reverse engineer it, and then get active, right? T, the taskmaster. This is your accountability partner. You need someone you check it with daily, every 7 days, every 30 days. How was my week? Where were my potholes? How could I get better? Did I have a productive month? Was I slacking? How can I change to make it better next month? Next is, remember, the journey from wherever you are to where you want to be, it's going to be long and it's going to be hard. And you're going to get tired. You're going to want to quit. So you need somebody like a cheerleader who's going to cheer you on along the way. Everything that's dope. And you like, damn, is it really? But you still need to hear that positive reinforcement. And lastly is the connector. This is the person that gets you into places you can't get in on your own. They advocate for you when you're not there. So that's something you need. This, who is in your space? I always say do a family and friend audit, because sometimes family and friends are toxic And guess what? They got to go. So what? I know you for 20 years. You're toxic. I'll send you a postcard 4 times a year. You can't be in my space. They are energy drainers, good people. You got to get them out. Love them with the love of the Lord, but they can't be in your space. Now, we talk about how do I get better? Well, once I identify this is a thing I want to do, right? I could utilize the free resources, writing workshops, Udemy. They got the college courses online, YouTube, free YouTube University, right? I told you I enlisted a vocal coach. I've had several coaches. You see, the greats got coaches. Why? So they can get better. You need to get a coach. Look at it as investing in you. People think I show up and I'll do a 30-minute talk and get a nice check. And they be like, well, you only talk for 30 minutes. 10 years to get here, baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've been putting in work to get here, to be polished, to have a polished presentation. My intro, you hear it in now, coming to the stage. That don't just happen. I went places. I'm a thief. I go play. I'm like, damn, that was dope. I need to do this. I got to do this. You don't be afraid to adopt things. I remember I was listening to Tony Robbins. I used to swear by this dude. Now, I still do. I love him. And he was saying stuff, and I was struggling with, damn, am I going to say anything that's like profound that comes from me? And I was reading the book, Ways of the Superior Man. And I'm reading. I'm like, wait, hold on. Tony Robbins said this. Everybody gets it from somewhere. And it was at that moment I was just like, yo, I got to be all right with this. And I started studying. You know who I study? I study who Tony studied. I study who Les studied. I study Jim Rohn, Earl Nightingale. I'll go to black and white YouTube film and I study that stuff. You get me? So you got to figure it out. What's your thing? Who's doing it at a high level? I love listening to Kobe Bryant. And I was talking to a player the other day. Kobe, every year, you know, you go, you guys this summer, you want to play the tournaments, win the tournaments. What Kobe did, he worked on his left hand this whole summer. Next summer, he worked on his drop step, his post game. Next summer, his 5 years go by, he done mastered 5 skills. When he meets you in the tournament 6, 7 years later, he is killing you because you still doing the same move at a high level. But he got 5 things he done perfected because he took 5 summers. Think about that. I approach anything I do with that military mindset. It's a strategic operation. You get me? And I'll close with this note. You got to just have faith, man. You got to walk on faith. You got to see the invisible and believe the impossible. You get me? Oftentimes, we all sit where we at, and we only see right in front of us. And we're like, damn, I can't get 10 miles down. I don't even got a car. I'm walking. Well, buddy, you got to figure it out because it's possible. Somebody has done it before. You get me? And if they haven't, you can be the person to do it. So that's kind of my thinking. That was a long answer.
Oh, it's a beautiful answer, though. Thank you for that, man. Thank you. So let's talk about your book. You put it together. You put it in the work. You figured it out. You had the vision. You did the thing. Talk about Unbreakable Valor and what's in those words so that we can encourage the listeners here, all the athletes, on why they should go and get this book and read it themselves.
Yeah, man. I mean, well, I would encourage you because when I say it, I may sound like a used car salesman. You go on Amazon and look at the reviews, and people are sharing their thoughts, right? And it's not like my life story, right? I share stories of my life, parts of it, to help amplify the message. Really about having that courage, man. You know, we're all going to be afraid in spots, but you got to be afraid and still push forward. You get me? You got to be afraid and still push forward. You got to be able to have that, what David Goggins say, you got to callous your mind. And I talk a lot about I fail. Like, you got failure is beautiful. Failure, remember, if I fail here, I try something else, I failed there and I failed there. Now I have 3 data points on what doesn't work. So what we do in sports, coach, we make adjustments. Hello, you got to make adjustments in your life. Don't be afraid, because if you stand still and a year goes by, the person that fails small and fails but keep failing for a year, they're going to be ahead of you because they kept moving forward. What happens is when we move forward, we get progress, even though it's small. And then you get about 10 or 20 of them put together. What are you building now? You're building momentum, right? Now you're going, and then what happens? Progress translates to happiness. You're going to see some results. So I want to encourage you, Unbreakable Valor, I'll show you the cover, Triumph Through the Soul of Resilience. It's definitely I wrote it for people who's lacking clarity, who wanted to like get unstuck. You know what I'm saying? I was teaching my high school, my college, and I was just like, dang, like you about to graduate. Like, what's next? And they don't know. And I'm, well, you know what? I'm going to share, I'm going to create this book that's going to have steps, system, and strategies on how to move forward. You know what I mean? One of the chapters being anchored in faith, right? Like you got to believe it's possible for you to move. And some of us, I know athletes, you might have a tough year, a dope year, 3 years, and now you're in a slump and you've lost that identity. Well, I'm going to encourage you to bounce back. That's that resilience, because life's going to knock you down. The question is, my friends, how will you respond? You get me? How will you respond? And that's the gist of the book. And I'm excited for you to tap in as I comb through here. The 5M's for success. I'll share those: mindset, motivation, money management, and master movement. Mindset, having that creative mindset. Motivation, what's your why? What's your purpose? You got to have reasons, because when you're on this journey to get wherever you want to get, it's going to be hard and you're going to want to stop. You're going to want to quit, but there's going to be reasons, right? One of my quotes is, who loses if I don't win? I got to win, Shane. I got to win. What's that mean for you? Is it family, friends, purpose? Who loses if you don't win? You got to win. It's not an option to stop, right? Money. I stopped chasing money. I started chasing purpose. So I was saying because remember, your gift's going to make room for you, right? Management. I talked about the SEAL Team 6. Who are the people in your team? And remember, the opposite of management is mismanagement. Whatever you mismanage, you lose. You mismanage your household, you lose it. You mismanage your finances, you lose it. You mismanage your gifts, you lose it. So wrap your head around that. And lastly is just massive movement, right? Getting active, getting soon. You athletes, but some of us, I was at a tryout the other day, and I'm joking, hands down. What is it? Hand down, man down. You need your hands up. You got to be moving your feet. You got to, it never stops. In the same way you perform on the field, you got to perform in your life, because you are what? The CEO of your life. So handle it like it's a business.
I love it, man. I'm going to encourage everybody. I'm going to put the link here in the description. So you probably have already seen it at this point, like where the link is to his book on Amazon. We got it right here. Again, Unbreakable Valor, Triumph Through the Soul of Resilience, from our guy, Shaun Murphy here himself. Check it out, you guys. I would highly encourage all of us. I'm gonna try to get myself a copy here too. So I'm not going to just talk about it. I'm going to actually go get myself a book. Shaun, I just want to say thank you. I actually really, really appreciate your time, taking the time out of your schedule to share these words. I also want to ask one question about if somebody wants to, reach out to you, let's just say a team or a corporation or somebody would like to, utilize your services to come speak for them. How can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, definitely tap in the website, www.mister-motivation.com. You can email hello@mister-motivation.com. My girl, Miss Sharon, will get us set up, get us on the call. I'm on Instagram pretty heavy, Mr. MISTER motivation. The O's are zeros for zero excuses. Hello.
Hey.
And if you're interested in the music, Mr. Motivation Music on IG, and just Mr. Motivation on Spotify, Apple, all the things. But yeah, we'd love to tap in.
Heck yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this interview. I hope you learned as much as I did. You're probably going to want to go back and listen again, because there's a ton of golden nuggets there. So, Shaun, appreciate your time. All the listeners out there, make sure to hit that subscribe button, because we'll be coming to you next week with another interview. Take care. Guys, thanks so much for listening to another episode of my show. Now, if you could go and do me a favor, head over to iTunes, give me 5 stars, and leave me a review, it would be greatly appreciated. Thanks, guys. Appreciate your support.